Hi! Halfway, this is the halfway mark of season 1 of Fidel Gastro's Rebel and Chill. Special features featuring Matt from Fidel Gastro's. Is that how that goes? I think I put too many words in there. Doesn't matter, it's our show. We can have fun, we can have fun. Episode 7 is the midway mark of season 1. And now this episode is, it's a weird one for me for a lot of reasons. First off, the event that we do in this episode is incredibly meaningful. In fact, had I not done this event, the Toronto Underground Market, I wouldn't know Houston. That's Houston. And then technically by virtue of Candace and Houston being sisters, I wouldn't know Candace. Hi! This event happened in a time in the city where I think it was like post-recession and food was really changing, and it really allowed for there to be an incubator of startup food companies. So this is pretty much how I got started. Now there's moments within the episode I'm a little ashamed of. I can be totally frank. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was young and dumb, and we can get through all that in due time. But this is a tough episode for me to watch. Episode 7, get in there. Look at all those buns. But it wasn't me. Glenn was actually my first boss when I was in advertising. He actually was the first and only person to technically fire me. More like laid me off, sure, because of the recession, but we're still great friends today. He was one of the smartest people I've ever met. He wrote the I Am Canadian ad back in the day for Most Canadian. He always used to rag on me for a living. I was the only one that worked in an entire ad agency of 400 people that still lived in their mother's house. And I was totally cool with it. And what's going on with my hair here? It's really thin. Look at that. That's no bueno. What is that? What is that? Just shave it. Don't try and hang on to it. I remember the first time I had to hire staff, it really scared me. I was like, whoa, there's people showing up for a job interview, and we have to employ all of you. This is terrifying. One of them just said something in the interview where I was just like, there's no way we can hire you now. He was something like, I'd love to be on the food truck more. I was like, oh, that's great, that's awesome. He's like, yeah, I can't wait to pick up all the chicks at the window. I was like, and pass. That was his goal. For whatever reason, he thought the glamorous life of slinging pad thai fries was gonna bring mucho love into his life. Not once has anyone in the middle of a service said, stop the show, that guy. The Selling Kate, my goodness. And they ran the Toronto Underground Market. It was probably one of the coolest food events in the city. Like in its early prime kind of launchings. Great to see so many people that came through that and then went on to do really awesome things in the city. No one fixed my collar there, eh? No one was like, hey Matt, just, I think it's from all the hugs. Look at that collar, weak collar. That is a weak collar. I remember how, so the old food truck had such a low ceiling. So we couldn't hire anyone that was over 5'10" because their head would hit the ceiling. Oh my God, Lauren Chisholm. So now our head of events, I had no idea, but apparently she was fucking with me the whole time. She was, I saw her resume, she had quite the pedigree of serving, and then she was asking all these questions that made me think like, who is this person? And apparently right before she walked in the truck, the directors were like, do me a favor, just pretend you don't know anything. And she was like, okay, and she nailed it, because I actually thought she was not too bright. And now she's our head of events and catering. Oh, remember I told you about the bleach marks? There you go, the bleach marks, original shirt. So I'm going through, this is Matt, he's a good friend of mine. I worked with him before this. I have a very hard time watching this. This part's fine. It's like the scene that comes a little bit later with me and Matt. I yelled at him. I just fucking yelled at him. Like, first off, it's embarrassing. Secondly, it's not how you talk to people. Thirdly, it's not how you motivate people. It's like, who am I? I didn't know what I was doing, yet I'm yelling at so it's like I would take all my own insecurities as a early entrepreneur, and I would deflect them on people that weren't necessarily as experienced as other people. I forgot the cash box. All the time I forgot the cash box. Yep, Kai saves the day. I remember my mom pulled me aside after and was like, what are you doing? You can't talk to people like that. No excuse. This guy that's talking right now is wrong. You know, so Matt and I mean, we've talked since then, obviously. I've apologized to him. I even apologized to his family. Because I was like, listen, you know, I'm so sorry that your son was on my show and I did this. So we had to, it's funny how things were. I catered his wedding a couple years ago. So thankfully he took my apology, but unacceptable in any environment. I should have been getting mad at myself first. So Matt, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tough. That was a tough one. That was super tough. And it has nothing to do with, I'm so happy we got to feature Toronto Underground Market, all these amazing people that we've worked with and staff, and I just have a really hard time watching that one scene. Yeah, it didn't sink in how inappropriate and wrong I was until I actually watched it. Like, because then you're in a different perspective, right? Like you're now removed from it and you're watching yourself yell at somebody who's helping you out and trying really hard, and it's like, how are they supposed to learn? You know, silly. That's probably one of the biggest teachable moments for myself, at least, learning how to be a better manager of people. And it's funny because that became, the first 2 years we opened the restaurant, that was like my biggest, the biggest criticism against me from our staff would be like, you know what, like I love what he does, but he's kind of hard to work for. I was not a great manager of personalities. So I used to just get angry, like, why